Hi, everyone. Welcome back. If you're a new listener, thanks for finding us. If you're a veteran, thanks for coming back and keep on listening and watching to the episodes. Today, we're going to talk about why, in a real scenario, the dog fails to bite versus they did really great at training. What happened? What's going on, Hans? That's kind of what the topic that you
it's a really big topic.
Yeah. Is it a mystery? Is it a...
Not to me.
Yeah, not to you. All right, everyone. We'll see you guys next time.
There you go. Well, there's fundamental reasons, and then there are reasons which are hidden, obvious and hidden. Mm-hmm. The obvious or fundamental are the ones that the training is done the wrong way. Okay.
So they think it's right. So they say, my dog did it in training.
Right.
Okay.
So in training, and people will roll eyes who knows me because I'm going to say this about 15 million times right now. The reason, fundamental reason, is that the dogs, most of the time these days, are trained to target equipment, right? And the dog, when you teach him to target equipment, he's going to target equipment, and the bad guys don't wear equipment, right? And then the argument I get to counter this is that people say, well, but police dogs do bite, even so they were started on equipment. And that's where the 1 in 40 comes into play, right? In other words, 1 in 40 dogs is even... they have the genetics to override the training. Mm-hmm. Okay, I always talk about defaults, right? And when I'm talking about defaults, I'm talking about training defaults. Now, there's even more important default than training defaults, and that's genetic default, right? You cannot override genetics.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. Mm-hmm. So if the dog has strong natural protectiveness, then that will override even so you're screwing up the training, because the genetically strong natural protectiveness is stronger default than what you trained. Mm-hmm. The train is kind of secondary, but I'm talking a whole lot about default in training because that's all we have influence over.
Well, it's good that we can not separate, but you're talking there are two things.
Right. So you have a default that you teach the dog to target equipment, and then especially on first time, the cops always say you never know what the dog is going to do until you're there first time around, right? Yeah. And that's, in my opinion, not correct. It shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way.
If the training was
right. Okay. But they train the dogs to target equipment. They say they do foundational bite work, right? They teach the dog to bite, just like we need to teach birds to swim, or fish, and fish to swim and birds to fly.
Yeah.
There you go. And I figure it out. I get it. And so the dog then tends to target equipment. You can see videos, they send the dog on a bad guy in a parking lot, the dog charges full bore, and then he comes to the bad guy, he doesn't see sleeve or equipment, so he just starts pissing on tires, right?
Yeah.
But some dogs, they have a really strong natural protectiveness. That's one reason. That's mainly when the vectors are the bad guys coming at you, right? In protection, and that will override, and the dog will protect.
Yeah.
Right. Because the genetics tell him to do so, despite of the training.
Yeah.
Right. So even so we train something wrong, the dog still will do the right thing because his genetics tell him to do so. Which is the ultimate default, the genetics.
Yeah. 1 in 40. That's the 1 in 40.
That's the 1 in 40. Okay. Yeah. And these days, like shoot-on type training and sport training eliminates natural protectiveness.
Okay.
So we have less and less of these dogs, right?
So it goes 1 in.
Yeah,
Whatever,
it's
just
getting
the numbers
worse and
are- yeah.
worse, right? So
Okay.
for this, so that's why, law enforcement a lot of times gets dogs from which fail sport, and usually they fail sport because they're really protective, and they don't want them to be protective. They want them to be happy-go-lucky fools which chase sleeve and for fun, right, on the helper's arm.
Yeah.
And so it's a complex problem, right? Because the sport promotes this.
Yeah.
The woke society doesn't like really strong protectiveness and all that stuff. So it's all happy-go-lucky golden retrievers, right?
Yeah. So people that are wishing sometimes, I want a strong dog. Well, you know what a strong.
So now, so that's one reason the dog will fail. Now, if that dog gets a real bite, that's really the first time he does real protection, right? On the street, first time on street, first situation. And the dog bites, and there's nothing more powerful for the dog as far as protection goes than to get a real bite. That overrides all the training or whatever he had. It's completely different, actually. It doesn't override it. It's just a parallel dog training, and he self-trains himself, right? But only if he has only if he does that first time, on the street, right? Then he enjoys that real fight, right? And then it works, right? But the rest of the dogs of 39, they may have a problem. I remember I've seen here in Greater Phoenix area. I think I'm not going to say town because I don't want to put anybody on the spot. But there was a video, they sent a Malinois on a bad guy, and the dog didn't see equipment, so he wouldn't bite, and the cop was pick up the dog and actually try to put the dog on a bite, and the dog would have nothing to do with it.
This is a police dog. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
The dog failed.
Yeah.
Right.
But in a way, the training failed, right?
The training failed.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why, they are requiring now, which never was that way because the training wasn't that way. They require these super high driven dogs like Malinois or Dutch Shepherds. And Dutch Shepherds even have the really strong natural protectiveness. It's not bred out of them yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Actually, if you were training them.
So even so you teach him the bites on this foundation bite work, then when you send him on dog like that on actual attack on street, first time ever, the dog run there and he's like, oh shit, where is the sleeve? I don't see sleeve. It doesn't matter, I'll still bite.
Yeah.
Because there's so much drive to do it that they do it.
Yeah.
Right? Despite of the training, right?
Yeah.
Right. So that's why we have this popularity of high driven dogs, right? Because they're there and they're so tuned to bite into the equipment, then when they don't see the equipment, they'll bite anything, right? So they attack the person anyway, but not because of the training, right? So that's one of the problems. The other problem, and mainly that's what I want to talk about more than. But I had to get that thing out of my way, which I just talked about.
Well, it's good. People understand that.
The other way, let's say all the training is done correctly, even the way I think I'm doing it correctly. So even if I train it, my dog, my way, the dog will or may fail when first time on the street, right?
Yeah.
On the street, I mean, it doesn't have to be on the street, but, on the street, I mean that the first realistic working scenario, right? Yeah. And the reason for that is that the handler acts different in training than when shit hit the fan.
And you've seen this.
Oh, I've seen it, And again, I'm not going to name any names, but the dog failed because the handler, instead of saying alert command the way they do it in training, she just kind of said, pozor, and the dog didn't even know he's being commanded.
Yeah.
right? And so that's one thing. So the way you pronounce the command and the way you stand and all that in training, you got to mimic it or reproduce it in real life scenario. And when somebody is trying to hit you with a stick or something, that may be hard to do.
Yeah.
Because you're stressed out by the real scenario, where in training you are not stressed out by the real scenario.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And Schutzhund used to address that. I still do, I guess, but it's called AD. That's a German word for aus something.
Mm-hmm.
You put the dog in a handler through a stress before you do obedience, and somehow I think it even include the protection part. Mm-hmm. But I'm not really sure. I forgot. But I know these days you need to do at least obedience, right? Mm-hmm. After the stress, and the stress being you gotta ride a bicycle or run with, I don't know how many kilometers you gotta run, but I know if you ride a bicycle with the dog running next to you, you do it for 20 kilometers, which is like 12.5 miles.
Yeah.
And then you do the training. And it's not part of the Schutzhund titling, it's part of the core class. But so you want to see the dog after the exhausting run, 20 kilometers, 12.5 miles, quite a distance. The dog is still willing to work, right? And so that's a stress. So that was for the genetics of the dog, But in training, it's hard to reproduce the stress where the handler would feel actual fear.
Yeah.
So that when he does feel actual fear in real life scenario, he's acting same way, and dog is not surprised. Like, oh, what's wrong with my master? He's acting funky.
Yeah.
He's scared or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Right. And that could be done some ways, but it's really in training. But it's really difficult, I put have you been in that? I put the electric shock collar on the handler.
I was literally not there that week. Tyler told me about it.
Yeah, I put it on biceps. I was a nice guy and put it on the handler's neck. So I just put it on their biceps, right?
Yeah.
And and randomly, I would zap them.
Yeah.
So it simulated a little stress.
You're like
on
a
the
scientist
handler.
of like the random.
And you know what? You jump, right? Yeah. And Tyler just his hand got.
Poor guy already got physical.
He was
issues.
a good sport about it.
I know.
But it's the randomness that was the stressful part.
Well, you did that one that was in the summer, I remember, and you had me do some push-ups and then get the dog in my neck, like pick up the dog, carry the dog, put it down, and then give the attack command.
Right. Yeah, but it's still not the real.
No, I know, but and I know it was coming,
a little
but
stress,
a little bit,
stress.
Yeah.
And the interesting part about stress is that it doesn't matter how that stress is induced. What matters is the level.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know it was coming. I didn't know. Like, why am I going to do it? Just do it.
So I should put that dog on your shoulder and then make you run at least 2 miles with it around.
There you go.
That would be
That's Hans. And you guys are like, oh, I'm like, no, we do okay, we don't have the 2 hours, but Hans puts us through some stuff. It's definitely not I would say your average
pet smart training. Yeah. So, and I used to do, and maybe we still should do it. I will dust off my AK-47.
There you go.
And then you said before you send the dog, I'll just shoot live ammo about 10 feet away from you in the dirt.
It's a great idea. And you guys think that Hans is joking?
No, I've done that.
No, I know. Yeah, I mean,
I've done that.
It's not like a.
I had a different class many years ago, and when I was living in Whitman, and we've done it there.
Yeah.
We went in the washes in the desert, and I had a handler come there with a dog, and I start shooting at them live ammo.
Yeah.
Not at them.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But close enough to scare piss out of them, right?
It's real. The bullets are fun.
Yeah, but still not the real, because they know I'm not shooting at them,
Yeah,
Even so it's stressful,
Yeah.
it's not the real thing.
Yeah.
You still know, Hans is crazy, but not that crazy.
Yeah.
He's not going to kill me.
But this is, and it's like, I'm not going off topic, but you talked about courage, and courage is
To overcome
fear. So fear is not bad. Fear is a healthy thing.
But mainly why I did it is that when you command the dog, first of all, that you get used to that level of the stress.
Yeah.
And the second, that when you command the dog, you are a little scared.
Yeah.
You are commanding the dog, and your body language and your facial expression and everything. Really,
and the dog, needs that.
You communicate to the dog attack command, and if he's not familiar with it, with that state of mind of yours, while you're doing that commanding, the dog may completely disregard it.
Yeah.
I've seen it for real.
Yeah.
So there's or you can see like some of the outfits, they would have a monkey way. You climb the ladder, and then you are 100 feet above the ground, and you walk on this narrow swinging bridge with the dog and all that. And that's pretty scary.
Yeah.
Especially if you're scared of heights.
Yeah.
And there's different ways to induce that fear.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, it's like, with the Navy SEALs, they put a lot of stress on you, and you say, well, why should I carry a log and through rainy
1 hour thing that put them through hell?
Well, but they do it because they can function under a certain level of stress. In combat, they aren't going to be carrying beams around, right?
Yeah.
But that beam simulates the stress.
They want to see how far they can push them.
And so this is so important, because people think, even if they train the dog well, that when shit hit the fan, that they're going to be able to do it. And if your stress level or your fear or so throw you off track when you are in real life scenario, the dog may not recognize it or maybe not used to it. It's like a new thing for him.
Yeah.
And suddenly he's that's not what he was trained for.
Yeah.
He was training for when you were on Sunday afternoon, happy-go-lucky, with a bunch of buddies training dogs. That's what he was used to. Not that you just got shot at or shot.
Yeah.
Or hit.
Yeah, or physically hit,
Yeah. That's completely different.
Yeah.
And so that's why a lot of times dogs fail, even so they're trained well.
Yeah. You said some of the Czech dogs back, was it the 80s or something, when you picked them up, or they had actual bumps on the...
Yeah, they would hit them with rattan stick. So that used to be with Schutzhund, they call it schlag stick.
Mm-hmm.
Or schlag, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And when they did the Schutzhund, they would actually hit the dog.
Yeah.
But that's just that's even different yet, right? That teaches the dog to operate when they're under stress. I'm talking about handler now.
Okay.
Right? And of course, dog can be under stress too. If you train everything is fun and happy-go-lucky, and suddenly dog gets kicked in the head in a real-life scenario, he will fail because he's not used to it.
Yeah.
And people say, well, it's cruel, you want to hit the dog? I say, yeah, more cruel when you get killed because your dog failed you.
Yeah.
So what's more, but in today's society, it's just bridge too far,
Yeah.
But that's how it is. You need to always think about this.
But you can't have it both ways then. If we have society going this way, we can't expect it, right? It's just like...
it cannot, you cannot have a humane training and then when somebody jumps you in dark alley and you need your dog to protect you, you cannot have that humane too, right? Because it's not going to be. Karl von Clausewitz, who wrote book on war, the ultimate book, really, it's still studied by military academies and stuff. The first thing he said in the book says, you cannot fight a humane war. That's what they try to do in Israel now and all that. But you can't really do it. The innocent people will die. The collateral damage is just, you want to limit it as much as possible. But you can't fight humane war. And so when you are in a real fight with somebody and need your dog to help you, it's not going to be humane. Yet you train the dog that everything is fun and happy-go-lucky. And even if you do put stress on the dog and do put stress on a decoy, it's still not the same thing as in the fight.
Sure.
So it's really important that when you train the dog, you think about those things. And the samurais, I like samurais, talk about samurais. They developed a system called Mushin Noshin, right? And so what it was that they focus. It means no mind, right? That's basically what it means. That in fight you have no mind. You just eliminate everything. That your wife is going to divorce you, and that you have no money for mortgage, and your kids are failing in the school. You completely eliminate all that stuff, and just focus on one thing. That's the ultimate way to deal with this situation, okay? But it's hard because you got to meditate on it and work on it for years. When I was doing judo, and I've done it for 8 years, and then I did some other martial arts, our sensei always made us meditate for 15 minutes before our training started. And so I can still, on command, basically, in fight, block all the bullshit and just focus on so I'm not really scared. You know what I mean? It sounds kind of weird, but that's how it is, right? So what we did, we would sit in seisai, on the knees, kind of, they said, and for 15 minutes we would close the eyes, and we try to completely empty our mind. We would match it with inhale, exhale, right? And then you meditate and you empty everything, everything.
And it was part of each training.
Every training for 8 years, and I used to train 5 to 7 times a week, sometimes on weekends too. And you do that every time, and you condition yourself. And then when you go into real fight now, let me back up a little bit. So then when you exhale, inhale, and then meditate, you put your mind into this Mushin Noshin state. There's nothing there. Empty. It's hard to be, not to think about anything. Try it. It's very difficult. And then we stood up and start practicing the randori and whatever, the different techniques and all that, and so we had nothing on their mind because we eliminated everything. And since it was practiced all the time, you could put yourself in that state of mind faster and faster, and it was triggered by the exhale, inhale. Inhale, exhale. And now I go, right? And nothing matters, right? Nothing else except the focus, what I have. It was good, well explained in that movie Last Samurai with Tom Cruise when he was fighting that old guy and he got hit with those wooden swords and he was getting kicked, his ass handed to him every time. And then this young guy, samurai, came to him, and when he was picking himself up from getting yet one more time hit by that wooden sword over his back, and he says, "Too many minds." And Tom Cruise looked at him. His character's name was Aldrin, and he says, "What do you mean, too many minds?" And he says, "Well, you think about this, you think about that, you think about this. Too many minds. You need to have one mind." And once you have that one mind, then suddenly you act different in the combat. And so the training which you got in training, you don't have to worry about you being different when you fight for real, because you just do what you were trained to do, right?
Yeah,
and that's difficult, but it's
possible.
It's possible.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is, people think that if they train dog, just even if you train it well and do it, correctly, everything correctly, whatever that is. I'm not going to start promoting my training system here. I think I'm doing it correctly. Of course, people say you think you are right. I said, of course I think I'm right.
or they say you live in your own,
or in my own head. I should.
Where are you supposed to be?
In your head. Don't want me to be in your head. Well, anyway, so the mushin noshin is that it helps you then to be in the fight, real fight, like you were in training. And for that reason, and we should start doing it. We kind of start doing it a little bit, but then kind of slipped my mind. We should do this even in training of dog training. Just meditate, open your mind, and then go for it.
Well, not just you tell us, it is true. We have tunnel vision when we're under stress.
Right. Right. That's another thing.
Yeah. So.
Well, that's when you are in the combat itself. But to initiate the combat and communicate to the dog where you are at, and what you want him to do, is greatly influenced by the way you're doing it.
Yeah.
And if you're scared,
then the whole thing could.
Yeah. So you gotta practice it so you are not scared, right?
Yeah.
Or rattled.
Rattled.
People, Americans, they say rattled. You're rattled.
Yeah, rattled. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a big topic, and nobody talks about it. No dog trainers talk about it.
Yeah.
There's combat trainers and all that. They talk about it.
Yeah.
But it's a big deal, because you spend years to train your dog, and dog is great and everything is fine, and he's very civil. He's for real and all that, and then you give him a command and dog doesn't even recognize it because you're all rattled. Yeah. And he never saw you rattled.
Yeah. No, it's not just an interesting topic. I mean, it's an actual thing.
It's vital.
Yeah.
It's vital.
Yeah.
Because why are you training? You're doing it so you have something to do on Saturday morning?
Yeah.
Or you're doing it because you expect, it's the same thing with shooting, I mean, it's not as pronounced because the gun doesn't care how you feel that much.
Yeah.
But you matter. So you may put a holes in a paper target, but the target doesn't shoot at you back.
Yeah.
And when the bad guy starts shooting back at you, suddenly you cannot hit nothing. You cannot hit a broadside of the barn.
Yeah.
Right? Because you are rattled.
Yeah.
It's the same thing in any kind of type of fight like that.
Yeah.
And what's good too is you don't have to practice this type of combat meditation only before the training. You can do it anytime. Yeah. You can do it while you're driving a car. Just exhale.
Just open your eyes.
Inhale. And just focus on driving. That's it. Whatever you're doing, right?
Yeah.
And
you drive better, most likely.
Yeah, you will drive much better. Yeah. And then when you do it for 10 years like that, every day, 5 times.
Yeah.
Then when somebody comes at you, you just exhale, inhale, and there you are. Yeah. So it takes time. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not like Karate Kid, paint, brush on, brush off, right? Yeah. And he practices, for like 2 weeks and wins world championship of karate. Bullshit, man. Yeah.
It's still a good. It's
a great movie,
It's funny.
Or what was the movie about that canine cop with Jim Belushi?
Yeah.
Or I don't
know if I've ever seen that.
Jim Belushi, the brother.
I never seen.
Yeah, he got this German Shepherd there, and he's like a canine officer and all that, and it's all all Hollywood. It's crazy, and the dog is just like a human. He talks to him and he kicks ass. It's a show dog,
Yeah.
But so it was just like somebody needs to make like a real movie about a real dog.
Yeah.
I remember when I was a little kid, man, I read this book. It was called Hil Murate or Muhtare. It was the name of the book, and it was about how in Russia, how they pick up a puppy, and but it's through the eyes of the dog.
Oh, I see.
It's very good. It was a very good book. That's probably one of another reasons why I got. I don't know what was first, if the book or my.
Sounds like Call of the Wild with Jack, like a little bit.
Yeah, Call of the Wild was a lot, but this was strictly from the puppy.
Yeah.
How he saw the world from himself. And how he looks at his handler, and how they sold him to, how he went from his mother, and it was just, it was like a little puppy and all that, all the way to the end. And I think on the end of the book, I'm not really sure, but I think he got shot eventually. The dog did. So that's the Russian version. In America, everything has to end up happy end.
The Russian version is sad.
In Russian, everybody gonna die.
There's no happiness.
No happiness.
Just, you go away with tears and you like it.
Yeah, that's right.
And you think about it.
Yeah, maybe I should write a book like that.
Yeah, there's no happy ending.
Yeah.
That's funny. But I mean, there's so much more, obviously, to this. But
there's a lot to it. But mainly it's the, as I say, you can visualize it, and always inhale, exhale, and empty your mind and relax everything. You gotta relax all your muscles in your face, all your body. Just relax everything.
Yeah.
And nothing matters. And you if you do it, like, you can sit in the room.
If you enjoyed this content so far, please subscribe to our channel. Also, Hans has a podcast channel called Dog Training for Life. Check that out so you can listen to the audio version.
And you can also find the tunnel vision, because tunnel vision is your enemy, right?
Yeah.
So when you exhale, inhale, I see myself in the camera window right there, so that would be like a one tunnel vision on that, right? But you practice, you can see everything. So I can see the screen, I can see the tripod, I can see the file while I'm looking straight forward. In other words, I see whole everything.
Yeah.
Almost 180 degrees, right?
And it takes time. I mean,
and that way, when you relax, you start seeing everything.
Yeah.
But you got to practice it.
Yeah. There's nothing in life that whatever's the hardest has the most value, but it's also the most difficult.
Yeah.
There's nothing in life that I know of that's got deep roots that'll, as Hans says, learn. What did you say? Learn that thing. Don't just. What did you say about like a test? Like,
it gotta be part of you. Is that what you mean?
Like if you're taking a test, if you just memorize it, it's.
You gotta be part of you.
Yeah,
it gotta be part. You gotta understand it.
Yeah, you have to understand.
Not just understand it, but also gotta be part of you.
Part of you, yeah.
Because if you learn something, first you gotta understand it. Because if you don't understand, it's like people tell me, they try to tell me something and I interrupt them. So don't interrupt me. Hey, you lost me. I don't understand what you're saying anymore. So I got to stop you because from now on, what you're saying is,
Hans told me recently that as far as technology, I was talking some stuff. He goes, you know what you're doing to me? You're like a truck with a bunch of bricks, like a truck full of bricks, which is knowledge. Each of these is like part of, and you just dump the whole load on me.
And you want me to, instead as the bricks are falling at me, you want me to bring cathedral out of it,
But that's but also, just going back to the original, it says if you think your training is correct, right? Because people think my training is correct. Well, going back to the whole sport thing, where people, the whole argument.
But that's a little different issue.
Yeah, we were talking about photography before we started this podcast, and there's no amount of color that you can add to a photograph that's going to make it a better photograph.
To a black and white.
To a black and white. Yeah. If it doesn't look good, black and white,
it's not good.
It's not going to be better because you added color to it,
or some effects.
Sort of, if you guys can maybe understand that, as that's Hans' point with sport training. He's not against sport. It's just you have to understand these fundamental things, and then you can add what you can do whatever you want with the dog after that. But that's kind of the big.
Well, sport is sport. You know,
Sport
I
is
don't do
sport,
sport,
yeah.
so I do personal.
Which
I
is
used
you're
to-
not against. Do it if you want, but you.
I'm not.
Saying,
I'm not against
Yeah.
dancing with dogs.
Yeah.
You know, but it's not a
understand the
protection.
fundamentals first.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
The sport is like dancing with dogs.
Yeah.
Basically, really. You know.
but
No, I pissed off a lot of
now
people.
it's like comments. But yeah, I don't know. I try to to have analogies in life. Hans knows his craft real well, and there's always a frustration when somebody's at his level and teaching because we sometimes don't get it. Not that we don't have brain capacity, but he put in the miles. And
Dump truck full of bricks.
the bricks, you're dumping bricks at us.
Not just one, but
I mean, like they're coming, yeah.
Yeah.
So
and then I told you that. Yeah, you told me it was one of those bricks, right, in the middle of the hundreds of bricks coming at me. So yeah, I didn't know that one.
yeah. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I have a stockbroker, and he completely switched the system, and he explained me everything. I know he did, but it was a
bunch of bricks getting thrown at you.
truckload of bricks, and so I kind of understand everything. And today I just try to do something. I said, I told you. I said, oh.
That's how I feel in dog training when Hans is like, I told you before.
Yeah, I know.
But that's the struggle of.
Well, it's like when you train dog. You cannot dump ton of bricks on
It's a
them.
dog too.
You gotta do one thing at a time. Always when you teach, never teach two things. Always teach just one.
Yeah, and just build.
Yeah,
Build on
and then 2 and 3. Or if you have a behavior problem, you always deal with one behavior problem at a time.
Maybe that's our next podcast.
Yeah,
one brick at a time.
one break at a time.
One brick at a time. Well, thank you, Hans. This was a good one. I mean, there's so
I
much
think
you can.
I like this one because I wish cops would watch this more. This particular thing.
We don't. We really don't
The
know
people who are really doing it.
You don't know who you're influencing. I think.
But you know
with
what?
these videos.
The civilians, they have even harder jobs than cops. Because cops they
The expectation part.
and plus they are in the stressful situations every day. So for them, it's somehow easier to deal with it.
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, where civilians like me and we don't. I mean, hopefully it doesn't happen, but when it
but
does,
if it does, people say, well, there's only 1% chance it's going to happen. I say, but when that 1% happens, it's 100%.
yeah, one little tiny fly will poison a whole perfume. Yeah, whole big bottle of perfume.
Ointment.
Yeah. So if you like this episode, please visit Alpine Canine Real. Hans has one-on-one teaching also. You can pick 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hours, and he helps you through. It's through phone calls / videos people can send you. It's like
whatever works for you
works.
and me. Yeah, both of us. We both gotta be on the same page.
Yeah, don't leave a voicemail because last time it was like 1985 when he checked his voicemail.
Well, not that late. About 2005.
I'm trying to make a point.
About 2005.
Basically, I'm saying don't leave a voicemail.
I know. I'm just kidding. Right?
So check that out if you're looking to learn more about out of drive training, meaning no treats and no cookies, no toy training. Hans has a video about obedience training out of drive. How to check commands for check dogs by Check Guy. How to feed puppies raw. The art of war.
And I sell dogs.
And he does sell dogs. So if you're looking for a pup or already
trained
dogs.
I just sold 2 trained dogs last week.
Good. Yeah. And there was a litter of puppies, and most of those
I sold a few of those.
If you're listening to this one, and there's only 2 of them.
There's always
left.
puppies puppies coming.
Yeah, but they're phenomenal dogs. The lineage where these dogs come from are legendary. So I learned a lot. It took me a few years to understand.
This girl on Facebook was all upset that I'm promoting myself.
Oh my gosh! How dare you? What are you supposed to
Yeah,
promote?
I told her that I will stop promote myself as long as she promotes me.
Okay.
I told her.
Good. Okay. And then crickets.
Yeah, crickets after that.
No, it's
Well, it used to be easy, you know. Back then, you had a Dog World magazine,
Yeah.
and you put an ad there. You know, you pay a few $100 for it, and
that was the channel.
people went to bookstore or whatever, or newsstand,
and they waited for the next month.
Yeah, and they look, you know, and they kept it home and all that. And but we don't have that anymore. So you got to promote yourself any which way you can on Facebook or wherever.
Yeah, I think it's a great medium. I mean,
I like the magazines better.
Yeah, but this thing is live, like in the sense, it's not live, but I mean, we're recording it live, but it's. I think this is potential.
What was good about the magazines for the sellers? That people kept it, the magazine, you know, and then 10 years later they decide to buy a dog and say, "Oh, let me look."
Oh, they went back to the magazine.
Yeah,
they did.
Yeah. Now it's there today, and tomorrow it's gone.
Yeah. But you know, there's a good.
Well, but I'm analog kind of guy, you know, so I'm more comfortable with the magazines. But magazines are gone.
Yeah, they're gone.
Yeah. So you gotta promote yourself on YouTube, podcasts, and stuff, and then people get all upset that I promote myself.
Please, no, it's nothing wrong with it.
You self-promote yourself like it's a bad thing.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
How do you? That's
what
how
about Coca-Cola, man? Did you see commercials for Coca-Cola? Why don't you send them email that they shouldn't self-promote themselves?
I know. People are funny. So visit Alpine Canine.
You're
Reel.
too gentle when you say that, so funny.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm numb to some of these things now.
Yeah, people are funny. People say I'm rude, so I would say probably a different way.
Yeah, well, we try to keep it clean.
It's tough. It's a struggle. It's a struggle.
You behaved so far.
It's a struggle. Yeah, no.
Overall, but out of hours and hours of recording.
Yeah, there's some.
Your batting average is pretty good.
Yeah, I should sometimes talk for like I normally talk. I would probably get immediately like thousands of hits.
Yeah. Well, when we do dog training,
the friend of mine used to say, you know, you should start a TV reality show about dog training. It would be called Hans's Health Dog Training.
Hell, yeah.
You know, I yell. You know, like that guy Hell's Kitchen. What's his name?
Ramsey.
Ramsey. Yeah, he yells, "You stupid! Fucking it up over here!
Yeah.
Beep beep! You beep! You don't beep!"
It's just like a beep beep.
Yeah, that's how I should. I think that would be a pretty popular show.
Yeah.
Almost like Caesar Milan.
But you know, the interesting thing with teachers is that when you look back, you know, like school, it's like, oh yeah, when you're in school, like, oh, that's a mean teacher, right?
Yeah.
But when you look forward 30 years,
right,
and you look back, it's like, you know what, that was the teacher that I learned the most from.
That's right. I had a math teacher. His name was Kohot, which means like a male chicken cock.
Okay.
Right, rooster.
Yeah.
Right, and he was throwing things at students.
Oh yeah.
You know, chalk was the easiest thing. But
Keys,
sometimes he had a bundle of keys, and you were talking to somebody behind you, and he hit you with this
full
1
force.
pound bundle of keys. He threw it across the classroom and hit you with it in the head.
Oh yeah.
It was normal. He would go.
I had a teacher like that too. Yeah. She nailed you. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I had another teacher. His name was Rusha, and he would take the pointer, the wooden pointer, you know, and he would throw a chalk in. Like a baseball kind of hit it, and he was deadly with that. He would hit you across the classroom right in the back of your head when you didn't pay attention.
Because you were not paying attention.
Right. Oh, yeah.
It's not because he was just trying to, you know.
Or when I was in the military academy, you know, it was early in the morning, you know. It was like 7 in the morning, and it was like 2 hours drive in a tramway, you know, in the morning. Yeah. So you got to get up like at 3 to even make it there. You got to get dressed and polish your boots and all that and quickly get some kind of a haircut. And then when you're there, you know, and they're telling us some boring stuff like how to grease tanks, what kind of oil and grease use. And the grease has numbers like VF 37-5, you know, or whatever, you know, and you're supposed to remember all that. And so you just start dozing off, right?
Yeah.
And Colonel Urban, he came and he had this medal like made out of really thick wire with a plastic
Oh, nice.
thing, and as you were dozing, you know, you kind of
Yeah.
act like this, like, you know, he doesn't see you have closed eyes because you have head down, right?
Yeah.
So you think, right?
Yeah.
And he kind of sneaks up on you and hit that pointer on a table, and it was like a gunshot, man, right in front of you. I jumped, you know.
Yeah. Woke you up.
Yeah, woke you up. Yeah, it was different kind of teaching.
Yeah, it worked.
Yeah, now the students say to the teacher, "Fuck you," and it's okay.
I know, yeah. So,
It's appalling.
which one is better? Huh? All right, guys. Thanks for listening.
Ahoy.